up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for December 28th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Saturday edition of the podcast. Before we get into it, let's do some quick housekeeping. First, be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Continue to spread the word. We've been growing this thing very slowly over the past 2+ years, featured in the On Pattison online newsletter, working with the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. So lots of good stuff on the horizon for 2025. And then speaking of that, doing something slightly different than what I normally do. So as you know, usually I do the state of Philly sports, do whatever this day in Philly sports history is, and then usually there's something special. We just got done the forgotten teams in Philly sports history. We've done the ultimate nickname tournament, lovable loser tournament, just something fun to kind of still get the word out there and take that trip down Philly sports memory lane. So for January, typically everybody talks about New Year's resolutions and what they want to get better at and blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm all about New Year's resolutions. I'm not saying we shouldn't have them, but when it comes to sports, it's kind of all played out. Oh, Joe resolves to play more games, and the Phillies resolve to not chase pitches, and blah, blah, blah. We've done it. One of the things people tend to do in the new year is kind of have a fresh start. Last year we did free agents who had a fresh start here in Philly. But we need to kind of change our karma here as Philly fans. So one way to do that is to forgive those that you've either done wrong or have done you wrong. And we're Philly fans, of course. We have a laundry list of people who have done us wrong and things that we have done. So that's what we're going to do in January. We are going to go through the list of the top 31 people that we forgive in an effort to change our karma and get out of the old school Philly mindset, let go of some of the anger and resentment and grudges that we hold against former Philly players, coaches, front office personnel, opponents, might even be some weather in there as well. But that's what we're going to do for January. This is who we forgive in an effort to release that burden and bring good karma and help our teams have a better 2025 than what 2024 was. Now, for the Eagles, it's still incomplete, but hopefully doing this will change the karma and guide them through January and hopefully into February. But this is where I need your help. I actually sat down yesterday and was like, this could be a struggle. I started to write a list out. I got to 38 names within 5 minutes. So when I say there's a lot of people that we can forgive, there's a lot of people that we can forgive. If there's anybody you want to see forgiven in an effort to release that burden, release the negativity, and get back to some of the good karma and get that new Philly mentality. That's going to be the theme. I've teased it over the past couple of years here and there, but we're going into 2025 with a new Philly mentality. Anyone that you think should be forgiven that might help the cause, hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. You'll have plenty of opportunities as we go into January. But like I said, I thought it was going to be tough, and I got to about 38 names within 5 minutes of doing the list. So there is a ton out there. I want to make sure I'm getting a comprehensive list. So if there's anybody out there that you want to forgive for breaking your heart, for not playing well, for being a jerk, any of that, choking, sucking, whatever, let it go. Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line. Let's make 2025 the year of new Philly, because we're close, man. We're very, very close to being that city. We just need to anything. Like I said, like if you go back to the curse of Billy Penn, once they put the statue on top of the Comcast Center, Phillies won the World Series. So let's not take any chances here. Let's get it out there, release the negativity, and have all that good karma come in. So we're going to start on Wednesday with our list of people we're forgiving, but I want you to be a part of it. So if there's anyone out there that you feel needs to be forgiven, they absolutely could make the list. Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line and let me know. All right, so Eagles news, big story yesterday was, I don't think this is a surprise, Jalen Hurts is not playing for not clearing concussion protocol. I'm okay with that. Kenny Pickett is in. He's been working with the number ones, says he feels good. I do think having a week of practice with the first team will do him wonders. I do think that it's going to be a warmer and rainy day, so they're probably going to rely on Saquon a lot, but Washington gave the blueprint on how to stop a Kenny Pickett-led offense. I'm thinking that with a week of preparation, though, that Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni will get that together and have a solid game plan. But Kenny needs to make the throws to not have them stack the box. So we'll have more on the three keys of the game tomorrow. But it's Kenny Pickett starting for the Eagles tomorrow. And that leads to today's question of the day. And obviously it is a lot's going to be on Pickett's shoulders, but I think the defense needs to step up as well. So who is a more important piece of the Eagles' key to victory on Sunday? Is it Kenny Pickett or the defense? I think if the defense just shuts down Cooper Rush and the Cowboys, which could be very well, they're very capable of doing, I think it will be fine. But let me know what you think. Is it come down to Kenny Pickett or the defense? Who's more important on Sunday? 267-495-8531. That's a Back to the Future voice and text line. And be sure to let me know anybody who needs to be forgiven. Can be a former player, could be a coach, general manager, an opponent, the weather. I've toyed with forgiving the fog in Chicago. If you know, you know. But let me know who needs to be forgiven and also who's more important for the Eagles on Sunday, Kenny Pickett or the defense. And then yesterday's question of the day, I asked you, everybody's a believer. That usually does not happen too often like this. I asked you can the Eagles win with Kenny Pickett? 100% of the votes came in, said yes. I don't disagree. I think he'll play solid. I think we need to temper our expectations a little bit, knowing that he's a backup quarterback. I don't want to get too much into tomorrow's episode, but I really like the under in this game. But I think it comes down to the defense. But is it Kenny Pickett or the defense? Let me know. And thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. I did see that Alshon Jeffrey is going to be the honorary captain. I think I started to believe that the Eagles had a chance to win the Super Bowl when he made that ridiculous catch. I know it was like the first quarter, but one of the most amazing catches in Eagles history. So Alshon Jeffrey will be in the building tomorrow. And I do think everybody's talking, is this a must-win game for Sirianni and the Eagles? It's not. However, I think if you win this game, you just take all of the stress of next week out. And basically, you just got to win one of your next two games. We've been in this position basically the past couple of years where we've just needed to win one game. How about we win the first one and just relax next week when the Giants come to town? But that is what we have on the Eagles. Be sure to check out my boys at the Clashing Conferences podcast, doing lots of great things with their Sports Fan Network. They are available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. Now, I was going to wait to do this until Monday because usually weekend listenership is down for a variety of reasons. I'm going to do it both days. I might even do it tomorrow. But my Birdwing shoes from Philly Goat came. First of all, I did open them. I was going to do a whole unboxing, unveiling, but I tried them on. They're just as comfortable as the canvas loafers. But if you haven't checked them out, look at these things. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Go to Philly Goat. Get your Birdwing shoes. Cannot wait to wear these tomorrow in honor of the Kelly Green Day. But just look at these. Go to Philly Goat. Get the shoes. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. These things are outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And as I said, I'm a big proponent of the canvas loafers. These are just as comfortable as them. And I feel like they're the exact same material. More ankle support than what I expected they would have. But just look at these things. Look at them. Go to Philly Goat. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order and get your bird wings. If you order now, they might be here in time for the playoffs. So go get the shoes, use the promo code, and let's go Birds. All right, Sixers are in Utah tonight to take on the Jazz. Just when I thought it was safe to jump back on the Sixers bandwagon, now Joe is questionable with a foot sprain. I don't know if that happened when he fell over the barricade during warm-ups. We'll see. Come on, man. He needs to play this game because he just does. Come on. Play this game, keep the momentum rolling, and let's go. Flyers are also out west there in Anaheim. Apparently, Cutter Gauthier had this date circled. If you remember, he's the guy that basically said, I'm not playing for the Flyers, and essentially quit, blamed Tortorella. It was a whole big mess. John Tortorella, to his credit, said, I don't give a shit what he has to say. I'm worried about winning this game. But Flyers are in Anaheim this afternoon, so you will be able to catch this game. It's a 4 o'clock game against the... I don't know if anybody in Philly is anticipating this matchup, but Cutter Gauthier has it circled on his calendar, so whoopity-doo. All right, today, it is Dallas week. We're going to go back to 2008. And on this day in 2008, heading into the day's game, the Eagles played at 4:25 that day, or 4:20, 4:15, I forget the exact kickoff time. But heading into the 1 o'clock games, the Eagles needed a ton of help and very unlikely help in order to even have a chance to play for a playoff spot. They needed Tampa Bay to lose to Oakland, who was 4-11. They needed Chicago or Minnesota to lose. Chicago was playing Houston, who were 7-8. Minnesota was playing the Giants. And then, of course, they had to beat the Cowboys later that afternoon. Well, the Vikings won, so that took that off the table. However, the Raiders pulled the upset of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Houston pulled the upset of the Chicago Bears, who were playing for their playoff life. All of a sudden, that 4:15 kickoff became a de facto playoff game to see who gets into the big tournament. It was a playoff or a play-in game. Remember, we were late going into the game because we were watching to make sure to see what to expect and, truthfully, what kind of mood we were going to be in heading into the game. But after trading field goals, each team getting a field goal in the first quarter, the rout was on. When the dust settled, the Eagles came out on top 44-6, clinching their playoff ticket and a date out in Minnesota the following week. Eagles scored 24 points in the second quarter, 17 in the third. Donovan threw for 2 touchdowns, also ran one in. Chris Clemens and Yosilio Hansen each returned fumbles for touchdowns. It was 2 of 5 turnovers that the Eagles defense forced that day. They also added 4 sacks of Tony Romo, just completely frustrating him and Terrell Owens. The Eagles would take that momentum into the playoffs, winning 2 road games. They beat Minnesota. They beat the Giants, all setting up an improbable date in the NFC Championship game against the Arizona Cardinals. The 2008 season was one of those bizarre ones for the Eagles. They were up, they were down. Donovan got benched. People were saying it's time to move on. And that was the tie year where Donovan didn't know the rules. And believe it or not, that tie ended up coming back to get the Eagles into the playoffs. Had they lost that game, they would have lost the tiebreaker to the Bears. So tying Cincinnati actually got the Eagles into the playoffs that year. But on this day in 2008, it was the Eagles 44-6 over the Cowboys, clinching a playoff spot after an unlikely series of events occurred during the 1 o'clock window that opened up the door for the Eagles to get in. Not only did they get in, they kicked the door down, marching all the way to the NFC Championship game. You got to love it. Would love to see a 44-6 outcome tomorrow. Would love to see the defense have 5 turnovers, 2 touchdowns, 4 sacks. I'll take that tomorrow. This is setting up to be one of those games. Be sure to let me know who's more important tomorrow, Kenny Pickett or the defense, and then anybody who you feel needs to be forgiven by Philadelphia fans. Even if you don't want to forgive him, I'm taking the burden on myself. So don't worry about it. Just throw the name out there. I'll handle the burden of forgiving them. So don't even worry about that. Just throw the names out there. We'll have more on the Sixers and Flyers tomorrow, as well as the 3 keys to victory tomorrow's game. I'll give you a little sneak preview. Defensively heavy tomorrow. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History for December 28th, 2024. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go buy the shoes. Buy them. I just showed them to you. Buy the shoes. Go have yourselves a Saturday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.